Hello and welcome back to Let's Play Deadfire with me, Break It Dawn.
Sure.
Let's take a look around real quick. Since it was a unique encounter, there may be some unique loot about. And it always pays to be thorough. Then we'll finally see if we can make it back to Preaky's Overlook without getting waylaid again. Maybe some loot down here. Not very exciting, but loot nonetheless. Alright, back to the Luminous bathhouse. We can look at the boiler room. Yeah, I was getting a little concerned we were going to be stuck in a perpetual state of being waylaid. How the end of last episode went.
Will do.
Beads of moisture run down the heated copper, leaving the perfume of refined Audra in their wake. And I think I used to like the smell of Audra. Now I can't stand it. The boiler room isn't safe for guests. Please return to the main floor. This crack in the wall is perhaps just wide enough to accommodate Namoa squeezing in sideways. The passage seems to widen the deeper it goes. Squeeze through the crack. Oh, I don't want to do this yet. I want to speak to Facina first. But while we're here... This wall looks recently repaired. Many of the stones are new, and were cut to fit into the older structure around it. It would take an appropriate tool, or considerable brawn, to overcome the steadfast obstacle. They examine the stone wall. The wall appears fairly solid and upright, though some patient work with a hammer and chisel could make short work of it. You notice fine metal wires nestled among the stones in a web-like network. Following them leads to an elaborate alarm system, which should be triggered by removing the stones. Disable the alarm system. After disconnecting the wires from the alarm with care, the stones are now safer to move. Have someone push through the wall. I had just enough. The mortar gives it the last instant, collapsing a section of wall large enough for a group to pass through single file. Alright, let's leave. We'll come back here later. I'm assuming that's supposed to act as the exit. I don't see why you couldn't use the same rope and grappling hook to leave as you used to enter. But either way, I want to speak to Facina first. Guess she might have some insight or advice for the heist. In fact, she might tell us to go that way.
I won at that animancy trial. My mind would have cut Theos' plot to bloody ribbons.
Indeed. It's a wonder we ever stopped Theos without you.
Don't let it discourage, lad. I'd wager silver you can keep up.
How generous of you.
Alright, to the Watershapers Guild.
Tekēhu, you have shirked your duties for the last time, I say.
A guildmaster in fine robes stares down the sizable, blue-skinned Namoa before her. Students observe the exchange in a loose circle, exchanging whispers.
Guildmaster, be reasonable.
He tosses his anemone-like hair, which glows faintly as each bulbous strand settles in place.
I skipped one lecture to travel up the mountain. Still, the palace is closed until you present me before Onikaza.
He crosses his arms and raises one eyebrow. The murmurs of the crowd grow in volume.
You went alone. I asked for patience, but as usual, you make a trench out of a tide pool.
She pacifies her tone. suddenly conscious of the onlookers. Say nothing.
My patience wears thin, old shark. You have stifled me enough for one trip through Rakuhu's bowels.
In spite of their obvious age difference, Tekēhu raises an instructive finger to the guildmaster. She flares her nostrils and takes a deep breath.
I say Ngati weeps at her petulant spectacle of a child.
He's the child of Ngati, Andra, goddess of the sea.
Ikera. The significance is clearer to some than others.
He waves toward the guildmaster with the back of his hand.
For a watershaper who treasures his duty to the goddess, you spend too many days cavorting at the brothel.
The guildmaster sidesteps Tekēhu and takes long strides away from the circle. Sparing another glance at Tekēhu, the crowd disperses.
Ugh, insufferable.
Tekēhu sighs and smooths back his hair. He turns his attention to you with a raised brow.
Did you need something? Or is it enough to bask in perfection?
Tekēhu grins and opens a palm, inviting you to speak. Have you got something to tell the crown?
Ikera, I sent the prince a missive and heard nothing back.
Tekēhu crosses his arms and sighs.
He is a busy warrior in a time of peace, I say.
Back to my other questions.
What say?
Water shaping sounds like a prestigious talent.
Well, through our connection to the gods, the Huana mold water like it is clay, easing it into an assumed form.
Grinning, Tekēhu adjusts his posture to assume a flowing, almost weightless stance.
We could sink every ship in Rauatai's fleet if they drew too close to the city, but some of us have gentler tastes.
He sighs and stands once more at ease.
Some of us see water shaping for what it is, a gift of divine expression.
So you're a water shaper.
Well, surely you have seen my works across Nekitaka.
Tekēhu knits his brow with immediate concern.
Look to the antechamber of the Kahanga Palace for my Apple of Ngati, or to the Luminous bathhouse for my Dance of the Wanton Priestess.
Tekēhu folds his arms and nods toward the door.
For as long as there have been Huana, there have been water shapers. But only since Tekēhu has water shaping been art.
I take it you and the guildmaster don't get along.
Kira, I bring art to the Guild of Water Shapers, but they do not tolerate expression here. What I am is to blame, I say.
Godlike?
Just so. Blessed and cursed at birth, I say. Water shaping is Ngati's gift to the Huana, and apparently I am too. Savior to the tribes.
He folds his arms and grimaces. Sounds like they put a lot of pressure on you.
The only question is, do I return to my duties, or while away a few hours in the bathhouse?
Tekēhu tugs on his hair and purses his lips. Consider your responsibilities first.
The guild can wait until I am good and ready to return.
Oh, this line. I could use a rowdy fish like you in the Defiant, if you'll have a watcher at the helm.
A watcher? And here I am used to being the freak of Pariki's overlook.
He rests a hand on his hip and grins.
What does a watcher do?
I watch. Mostly the dead.
Ikera. Just so.
He strokes his chin, nodding.
I say I am no sailor, and I know even less about death. I am an artist.
He stirs his fingers through the air, drawing together droplets of moisture into an orb of water that floats over his palm.
My peers do not understand. Water shaping to them is like studying calligraphy, to brew ink and sort parchment.
He lets the orb fall to the ground and splash at his feet. If your abilities can drown our enemies, you can call it whatever you like.
Will we do much fighting, then? Ikera, a pity.
Tekēhu scratches the back of his head.
You are not unknown to me, I say. Whispers of an Adra Colossus reach my ears. And louder whispers of a corpse who follows him.
Tekēhu raises one of his brows.
What will you do when you catch up to this walking god?
Aethys needs to answer for his actions.
As do many mortals in the Deadfire. It seems the gods are no different. If it untangles me from the guild's apron strings, then you can mount me as the figurehead of your fair ship.
Tekēhu inclines his head and touches the circular marking on his brow.
Our quarters may smell of fish before long, but your crew will be more beautiful by association, I say.
He winks.
Fish smell would be an improvement. Glad to have you.
Let's be off.
Lead on. It will be good to put some distance between myself and the guild, even if we find less savory places along the way. A fair warning, Captain. Ngati gifted her favorite son with more than his stunning complexion.
Tekēhu tosses his hair and sighs contentedly. Man, some of the dialogue in this game. What? Can you breathe underwater?
Good guess. Only for as long as, well...
Tekēhu folds his arms and considers.
I say you will learn. In time.
He winks, his eyes suddenly as dark as beads of polished onyx. I'm going to keep him as a druid. We already have one chanter multiclass. I don't think we need another.
Farewell and farewell.
Sorry, Seraphim. It's been fun.
If you want for company, look no further.
It's time for a
You have
change of
my
pace. So what are we working with here? Alright, so Wave Walker, immunity to water attacks, immunity to fire attacks per 6 seconds, immunity to slog zone attacks. Interesting. As you turn to Tekēhu, a shadow passes over your vision. Feel a tug from somewhere deep within his soul. A faint ripple creases the air between you two like a forest of ethereal kelp. Surrender to the sensation. Tekēhu's soul is vibrant and energetic, almost too lively to occupy its mortal shell. There's a bright thread of energy that trails away from him. You instinctively follow it. You stand in a grand hall, underwater and cloaked in oppressive shadows. Pillars of coral and bone reach up to support a ceiling that must be hundreds of fathoms away. Chandeliers lit with bioluminescent globes dangle from long ropes, swaying in languid, tentacular motions. At the farthest end of the hall sits Andra, as tall as a castle keep and leaning forward in her throne. She's adopted the head of an anglerfish and regards you with its globular stare. Her sickle-shaped jaw opens and closes in a rictus of conflicted emotions.
A life without friction or challenge has left the boy in need of guidance.
The voice of Andra pounds at your mind with relentless force.
He thinks himself frail, but my heart beats in his chest. He is stronger than either of you could know.
She claps her hands, and the vision shatters, flooding the hall with a deluge of awareness as you return to your senses. Regarding you with a warm smile, Tekēhu at first seems oblivious to your momentary detachment, and his brow furrows with concern.
Captain, what say? You look a little blue about the gills.
Andra just reached out to me.
Ngati spoke to you.
Skeptical, Tekēhu cradles his chin and considers.
Ha! To leave her son guessing. Oh, this is my tricksome mother through and through.
She seems to care about your well-being.
What mother doesn't? You must be special indeed for Ngati to speak with words. For her people, she lays out cryptic stepping stones hidden in omens. Akira, but send her my fondest wishes.
The Kahanga royalty seem very taken with you.
Between the crown and the guild, Nekataka has high hopes for Ngati's chosen son, I say.
Tekēhu smooths back his hair with both hands as he gathers his thoughts.
If Ngati had not blessed me, I say the goddess touched me for more than enriching one tribe, glorifying one island.
Tekēhu bites his thumbnail and sighs. I can tell you don't want to be anyone's savior.
Tekēhu, yes.
Tekēhu draws in a deep breath and nods, savoring your words.
I say there is me, Tekēhu, and there is the Tekēhu others would make like a coconut husk doll.
You mean the one people would play with?
Anyone with the strength to pick me up may play with me, friend Shouty.
Tekēhu winks at her.
The more I try to be the Tekēhu I know I am, the harder I am constrained. What say?
He brings up his gaze to meet yours. You give too much power to the expectations of others.
But it is the adoring people who made Tekēhu the savior of the tribes.
He shrugs, sighing.
Many think that I have a duty to the Huana. I say I am the only one unconvinced.
I'm the Lord of Cadnua, but you don't see me rebuilding my keep.
Akira, just so.
The side of his mouth twitches. Hesitating at first, Tekēhu envelops your hand into his. The scales along his palm both prickly and warm. Just as it seems he'll break away, instead he leans in closer.
I know how I seem. We did not have this word, conceded, before Adirans landed on the Isles.
Well, you've certainly made up for lost time.
If Ngati had not touched me, I wonder if anyone would care.
Tekēhu seems ready to say more. He stops himself and releases you from his grip. The world around you darkens, and once again you feel an insistent tug for your attention, the pull centering from Tekēhu's soul. Surrender to the sensation. Once again you find yourself in Andra's waterlogged hall of power. The tired swing of bioluminescent chandeliers casts uneven rays of light down on her court.
Poor boy. He has it backward, as usual.
A silky, distant voice asserts itself in your thoughts.
I did not choose him so that he could do great things. I chose him because talent should be fostered toward any end.
Sadness and regret creep into her tone, but something about them rings falsely to your ears.
How fortunate that you are here to set him on the right path. I know you won't disappoint.
You hear a smile in her words.
Apologies. I say I never miss an opportunity to talk about myself.
The presence withdraws, leaving you unsteady on your feet. Oblivious, Tekēhu offers a broad, showy smile. I had some questions.
You have questions? Akira, I have answers.
Tekēhu opens his palm and gestures for you to speak freely. Where did you live prior to Neketaka?
The Kahunga are my tribe, but my people settled on Atua, an island too modest to deserve the attention of maps. My mortal mother tans boar hides. My father trades in the abundance of pearls and opals Atua is blessed to provide. When I was born, father called me his blue topaz boy.
Tekēhu scratches the back of his head and grins. Have any other notable godlike come from Atoa?
Doubtless, I say. But I am the most precious gem of recent history. Godlike are revered as bringers of local change, but only Ngati's chosen is thought to deliver an omen for all Huana at once.
Your birth must have been a big event.
Akira, high winds stirred the vigor of the seas. 2 huts collapsed before our local storm speaker could shout down the weather.
He beams with pride.
They say the skies only cleared when I fell into the midwife's basket. Peace had returned to the island. Or so the Mataru predicted.
What did you do around the island?
I could not be kept from the water, so my father taught me how to dive for pearls and azada snails. Ngati filled my palms with riches on every harvest, I say. When I came of an age to begin a man's pursuits, the Mataru reached out to the Kahunga Queen. Weighing my arrival against the forces that descended on her territory, the Queen could not invite Ngati's chosen into the Watershapers Guild fast enough. In hard times, the endorsement of a goddess is more valuable than currency.
Back to my previous questions.
Akira, speak on.
Tell me about water shaping, Tekēhu.
Ah, the art of our ancestors, I say. To bend water to our will is a gift from Mother Ngati to her chosen people.
Tekēhu stands tall and grins with pride.
Since devastation swept our way of life out to sea, too much of the art has been lost. Periki, founder of the guild, organized the lore of Ngati's talent into a series of postures and meditations we call the 4 forms of water shaping.
Well, what are these forms?
Try as we might to embody Ngati's element, our bodies are not water. Ikera, this is the form of grief, a beginner's test.
Tekēhu closes his eyes and sweeps out his hands, exhaling sharply.
The body's internal water is a force that conquers all. Even the mountain will bow to the stream. The form of hope, I say.
Tekēhu crosses one leg before the other and sways on the spot.
Water commands its vessel, and the vessel can be shaped as surely as the mountain. The form of metamorphosis, Ikera?
Tekēhu opens his eyes, which now resemble polished onyx. His smile is hungry, predatory. He blinks, and the effect is gone.
The art is a challenge to grasp, difficult to master, and impossible to perfect. Unless you are Ngati's chosen, I say.
You said there were 4 forms.
Ah, it is only by force of habit that I omit the final form. We do not speak of it in the guild. The form of transcendence.
Tekēhu closes his eyes and concentrates. Holding out his palms, he bites his lower lip and focuses. Finally, he shakes his head and stands at ease once more.
Only a story, I say. Even crafty Periki could not commit this ancient form to her scrolls. It was said that our ancestors could shape the very oceans of the Deadfire. This was Ngati's true gift, but we have yet to recover it from the ruins of our past.
Tell me again about the forms.
Try as we might to embody Ngati's element, the body water commands. The art is a challenge to grasp, difficult to master, and impossible to perfect. Unless you are Ngati's chosen, I say.
Let's be off. Alright, let's level him up. Take a look at his skills. Alright, with Seraphine out of the party, we do need metaphysics. Explosives. Let's do alchemy. Alright, so what does he get? Spirit Shift Shark. It's immune to dexterity afflictions, only transforms for 15 seconds. Draws upon the druid's natural connection to the shark, temporarily allowing them to assume that form. The Shark Spirit Shift has immunity to dexterity afflictions. And Watershaper. Unique to the Huana, Watershaper druids possess a special affinity with water in all its forms. Watershaping is an ancient tradition, not only to select members of the Mataru caste, and is believed to have been taught to the Huana by Andra herself. It gains the Andra's Whip druid spell. Learn select Watershaper spells at new power levels. Frost and water spells cast this way are foe only. Lose access to fire and creature druid spells. Okay. So Andra's Whip. Use Watershaping to form a whip-like entity that is capable of striking foes. So I'll probably just focus on spells like Winter Wind. Dancing Bolts, focus on... Say it was... Frost and Water spells. Yeah, so Winter Wind counts as Frost, we'll probably grab that. Causes an icy wind of incredible power to arise, pushing back all in the area of effect and inflicting freeze damage. Alright, Alchemy and Metaphysics. When it gets Blizzard, conjures a violent storm of ice and snow, inflicting freeze damage upon any in the area of effect and slowing their action speed. Alright, so we can add various elemental damages to his Wild Strike when he's shapeshifted or spirit shifted. I'm going to grab the Moon's Light. Call to the moon for rays of healing moonlight, applying a regenerating effect to nearby allies. Oh, we get 2. Let's lean into... Wild Strike Freeze. So plus 15% damage dealt as freeze with weapons. The Druid's knowledge of the forces of nature allows him to automatically inflict additional freeze damage when spirit shifted. Alright, we'll grab Dancing Bolts here. Summons a flurry of thin bolts of lightning, zapping enemies in the area of effect for shock damage. He's already got Quarterstaff, which is what I wanted him to use. So we'll grab, I guess, Wand here. What does Quarterstaff get? I'll look at it later. Alright, so he gets Chill Fog, calls a blindingly white icy fog into existence, inflicting blindness and freeze damage over time to any in the area of effect. Alright, so we'll grab Returning Storm here. Brings a powerful storm into being, striking a random single enemy in the area of effect periodically, with bolts of lightning that stun and deal shock damage. But he gets another one. Probably Nature's Bomb. Draws on the healing power of nature, imbuing the robust inspiration for a rapid regeneration effect on party members. The +5 Constitution, gain 2 armor rating, and will regenerate health periodically. Because he doesn't seem like he wants to fight, so making him more into a healer. Obviously we're still going to go Shock and Frost, but focus more on the healing side of things. Nature's Mark causes enemies in the area of effect to glow with pale green light, making them easier targets. Affected enemies suffer decreased deflection and reflex. Alright, he gets Boiling Spray. Everyone in the cone area of effect takes burn damage and is pushed back. Yeah, so Secrets of Rhyme. Gain increased penetration with frost and water attacks. It's only +1, but considering how heavily we're leaning into that, may as well. So a few options here. Moonwell's really good. Overwhelming Wave and Hailstorm. Let's get Moonwell. Channels lunar energy into a localized source of power, regenerating the health of allies in the area of effect, and granting a minor bonus to all defenses. Alright, then Overwhelming Wave. Conjures a rolling wave of water that plows through everything in its path, causing crush damage and the stun affliction. Alright, now he has Ocean Burst. Summons a watery ball of liquid force that explodes at a targeted location, causing crush damage to all in the area of effect. Some good stuff here as well. Then we'll grab Cleansing Wind. It creates a rolling cloud of purification, healing the health of allies and pushing back enemies. Tough call between Rapid Casting and Practiced Healer. Let's get Rapid Casting for now. I do want to see what some of these modals do. The defensive strike for the quarterstaff. Weave the quarterstaff to deflect incoming blows, gaining increased deflection against melee weapons at the cost of recovery time. Rod gets blast. The rod attacks with greater energy, slowing the wielder's recovery but hitting enemies around the target. We've seen the scepter, and then wand is interfering barrage. Focus wand attacks to interfere with the enemy's ability to attack effectively at the cost of damage. He starts with Watershapers Focus. It's a fine weapon and leaping arc. Range attacks bounce +1 times with rod attacks. Unlike many Watershapers, Tekēhu considers himself an artist. To him, the manipulation of water is not merely an arcane power, but a form of expression. His magic implement has transformed in subtle ways, as Tekēhu has developed his abilities. It responds not just to his mind, but his creative whims as well, allowing him greater mastery over his power to create, change, and destroy. Ooh, +1 all water power levels and +1 all frost power levels. Interesting. Okay. I'll also give him this. Shouldn't need those. Okay, at least he's a little equipped.
I will give this a good home.
Yeah.
Alright, I'm going to call the episode here. We didn't get a lot done because we spent a lot of time with Tekēhu.
You need something.
That's okay.
What say, my friend?
New companion is a big deal. And the next one, we'll finish exploring the Watershapers Guild and see if we can't make it to Archimero's Manor. But I do want to speak to Facina first, and we'll go from there. Oh, night just fell. I could tell because we just got this buff, Steeled in Darkness. Alright, I'm going to call it here. Thanks for watching. Hope to see you guys in the next one.